The reason I went to Lagos is because I was invited by the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, but they were meeting now at the 43rd annual general meeting of the association. So they had asked me to come and speak there. Now, one of the interesting things is that, so they say we must speak about manufacturing, because we don't want to continue to be the exporters of raw material and raw materials and so on. You know, Nigeria got its independence in 1960. Every single government there, whether military or civilian, every single government since then has had an industrialization policy. Every single one of them. And the Manufacturers Association said to me, please, can you come and talk to us to talk about this thing? Why have we failed? What is it that needs to be done? What needs to happen? So that's what we're talking about in Nigeria. And really very interesting to look at this. It's not as though our leadership on the continent has not been conscious of the challenge, of the need for this fundamental transformation of our economies, away from being producers and exporters of raw materials, transformation of the economy, modernization, industrialization, and so on. We've known this all the time and tried to do something. But I'm saying that last week the Nigerian manufacturers were saying to me, we have not succeeded. 55 years later, I met with President Buhari. We talked about this thing and we agreed that this time we cannot fail. We can't repeat a story of 55 years and say we have not succeeded. And it's quite clear that when you look at the Nigerian challenge of industrialization, that story is repeated in many of our countries on the continent. It's not unique to Nigeria. If Nigeria succeeds as it should, and indeed the manufacturers and government were very militant that we need to succeed. Indeed, I think if they do succeed, it would be very important in terms of addressing this challenge continentally. And one of the issues that's very hotly debated then in this context was the issue of the economic partnership agreements with the EU. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria militantly hostile to these economic partnership agreements. No, no, no. Talk to the government say if we agree to those partnership agreements, say goodbye to industrialization of Nigeria. So what's going to happen? Kenya, last year I think it was, when the East Africans, that group that was negotiating with the EU, the partnership agreement, when they all signed, Kenya said we're not signing. The European Union then said to Kenya, fine, we give you, from a particular date, we are going to impose duties on various of your products which you export into the EU market. Within 2 weeks, Kenya signed. And the Nigerians were telling me that in their region, they're the first 2 countries to sign the economic partnership agreements were Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. In that instance, because the EU said to both countries, if you don't sign, we are going to impose duties on your cocoa. And they signed. quite correctly, because the industrialization that needs to take place needs protection. You can't say we're building reciprocal economic relations between us and the EU, not today. The imbalance in terms of strength and capacity is too big. It can't be reciprocal. Though the Europeans do say, no, we'll phase it in over a period of 10 years. It's like over the next 10 years, they are going to stand still while we catch up with them. Of course, in the next 10 years, they are going to be moving forward. We might move forward ourselves, but will the gap close?
No longer continue to make policy for ourselves, in our country, in our region, in our continent, on the basis of whatever support the Western world or France or the European Union can give us. It will not work. It has not worked, and it will not work. Our responsibility is to charter a path which is about how we can develop our nations ourselves. It is not right for a country like Ghana, 60 years after independence, to still have its health and education budgets being financed on the basis of the generosity and charity of European taxpayers. By now, we should be able to finance our basic needs ourselves. Our perspective has not to be what the French taxpayer decides to do with whatever surpluses that they have in France. They're welcome. But this continent, with all that has happened, is still today the repository of at least 30% of the most important minerals of the world. These young men who are showing so much resilience and ingenuity in crossing the Sahara, finding ways to go across with rickety boats across the Mediterranean to really, those energies, we want to have those energies working inside our countries. And we're going to have those energies working in our countries if we begin to build systems that tell the young people of our country that their hopes, their opportunity are right here with us. It has always been linked to the same thing: the failure of where you are to provide you with an opportunity, so you move somewhere else. Italian young people are in Italy. Irish young people are in Ireland. We want young Africans to stay in Africa. And how are they? And it means that we have to get away from this mindset of dependence, this mindset about what can France do for us. France will do whatever it needs to do for its own sake. And when those coincide with ours, tant mieux, as the French people say. But our main responsibility as leaders, as citizens, is what we need to do to grow our own countries. Our concern should be with what do we need to do in this 21st century to move Africa away from being cap in hand and begging for aid, for charity, for handouts. The African continent, when you look at its resources, should be giving monies to other places so that we can create the conditions that would allow our young people to forego this hazardous effort to get to Europe. They're not going there because they want to. They're going there because they don't believe they have any opportunities in our countries. So that should be our focus. And I believe that with that if we change that mindset of dependence, that mindset which is contingent on aid and charity, we would see that in the decades ahead of us, the full flowering of the African peoples will take place. These are my strongly held beliefs. And that is the reason why I've adopted as the slogan of my presidency, of my period in the Supreme Office of Ghana, that we want to build a Ghana beyond aid, a Ghana which is independent, which is self-sufficient, that is capable of standing on its own feet and building its own life. We can do it.